Okay, so this will be the agendas for demo. So a quick word about SAP. All of you already know. Probably I would just try to quickly set that tone. So SAP is one of the largest vendor of ERP software, and their solutions caters to various industries and various business processes. I mean, right from manufacturing, logistics, finance, and you name it. They have been solution. They have a product catering to most of the lines of business that are available in the modern world. This is how the journey of SAP has been. As you might know, that it was started by a group of ex-IBM employees in the year 1972. And they were delivering application for specific business processes, maybe standalone application catering to a specific need of their clients, and to one of the largest vendors or a ERP solution provider in 2022. That's how we know SAP. I am not going how they have evolved. So they are already into their fourth generation of their product suite. So SAP S4HANA is their fourth generation of product suite. I'm not going one by one, but yes, if you are interested in knowing how SAP has evolved, you can, of course, come back to the slide, or when we are discussing about this curriculum, we will be discussing a little bit about SAP and history of SAP in more details. Okay. How will be the job outlook? What you can expect once you have completed this course? What are the job titles that will be available in the market? So you can see the general salary trend for SAP ABAP Restful Application Programming Model developers ranges from $100,000 to $130,000 per year. And these are some of the job titles that you might find listed on the different portals. So it could be with ABAP RAP developers, it could be full stack developers who have application development knowledge using Restful Application Programming Model, or Restful Application Programming Model technical lead. So these are some of the job titles that you would find listed in the job market. We have already discussed about the salary trend, so ranging from $100,000 to $130,000, and this is how the median salary stand for SAP ABAP Restful Application Programming developers. You talk about industry, so you can name any industry. SAP has presence everywhere. Probably if you take any organization from the Fortune 500, SAP is implemented in one place or other places for all those Fortune 500 companies. So be it for finance or banking, manufacturing, logistics, public sectors, education, everywhere SAP has presence. And that's how it becomes important that you get upskilled in the latest technology, because developers would be in demand. And why so? We will be seeing in the coming slides. About this course, what we are going to discuss, what are the topics that we are going to cover. So a quick high-level overview of the course that we are going to discuss. So we are going to discuss about the architecture of Restful Application Programming Model, both the design time and the runtime architecture. We will discuss in detail about the every components or every object that needs to be built as part of the design time architecture, how it behaves during the runtime, what are the different components or the different artifacts that gets called in what sequence. Of course, we would be developing a Fiori application using Restful Application Programming Model. So Restful Application Programming Model has two major components: CDS, which is for the data modeling, and the OData service that gets built on top of the CDS views that we are going to create. And that will be exposed and will be ready to deploy as a Fiori application. So we will see a Fiori application getting created using Restful Application Programming Model. Then you have the behavior definition and behavior projection as part of the business object. So we are going to implement those BDEF, behavior definition, and implement various custom business logics that we might have to cater to specific needs of each and every customer. We will also be talking about EML, which is Entity Manipulation Language. So again, an extension of ABAP, which is used in Restful Application Programming Model. So we are going to cover that in details. Of course, we are going to leverage about CDS views As I said, ABAP Restful Application Programming Model has two main components, and CDS is one of the major components which is used for modeling. So we are going to talk about CDS views, annotations in CDS view, and how it can be used as a modeling layer, and you can build OData services on top of the CDS data models that gets created. And of course, you must have heard of these terminologies: clean core, upgrade safe, cloud ready. So how using RESTful application programming model, the design principles, we can achieve or we can implement clean core, a core which is lean and clean, a stable core which is upgrade safe and cloud ready. So we are going to discuss all such things as part of this course. I'll take a pause for a minute. If you have any questions on the course objective or whatever we have talked about, if you have any questions, then feel free to ask. So maybe you can unmute yourself or you can post in the chat. I will be happy to answer those. Okay, any prerequisite for this course? So basic knowledge of ABAP programming, that is what it is. That is what is needed. If you know how to write simple select query, you know how to write loop statement, you know about classes and methods, function modules, that is what it is needed. Nothing apart from that. And of course, familiarity with SAP S/4HANA environment, because if you would have seen the webinar title, it is RESTful Application Programming Model for SAP S/4HANA. So we are going to develop our artifacts or our objects in the SAP S/4HANA environment. So little bit of familiarity with the SAP S/4HANA product suite. You know what is SAP S/4HANA, how is it different from SAP ECC. Little bit of familiarity is good enough. Exposure to Eclipse, I would not say it as a very mandatory requirement, because we will be covering for each object how you can create, how you can do the life cycle of each and every object that we are going to create as part of RESTful Application Programming Model. But if you have certain exposure to Eclipse earlier, that would be helpful. And again, conceptual knowledge of Fiori, because ultimately we are also going to create a Fiori application. And you must already be aware that with SAP S/4HANA product suite, SAP is moving towards a Fiori first strategy. So those transactions and T codes probably would not be available or would not be available for end users or business users to access. Instead, you are going to create a Fiori application for each and every business process or the custom development that you have done. So a little bit of knowledge what Fiori is. You know about the transactions, you know about the launchpad from where you can access the tiles. Of course, you do not need to know about the configuration, how those tiles can be configured. But you know that, okay, there is a launchpad where you can see various Fiori tiles according to your roles, according to the activities that you perform. So that when we are talking about Fiori application, when we are deploying Fiori application on the launchpad, you are pretty much aware about it. Who should take up this course? So any ABAP developers who have been doing ABAP development, they are expert in their area, they are very good at core ABAP development, but they want to upgrade, they want to upskill themselves to the new technology. This is also called as, the newer version is called as ABAP on cloud. They want to upgrade into this new technology. They want to sustain in the market. They want to continue their extension, the customization development in SAP S/4HANA on-premise or SAP S/4HANA cloud, be it private cloud or public cloud. If they want to modernize, of course, it would be very relevant for them. Any technical consultant, whether they are coming from different background, they want to build application development as a primary or a secondary skill. If they want to transition their career into application development area, of course, this course would be very relevant for them. Developers who want to build scalable Fiori application using Fiori elements, they want to build application using RESTful Application Programming Model, it could be relevant for them. And of course, very relevant for students and freshers who are new to the industry and want to leverage the new modern technologies.
Hey, you know, ZaranTech now offers SAP corporate training. That's right. Train your workforce in SAP with our comprehensive program. We offer customized courses, certified trainers, and hands-on labs for both individuals and businesses. Our standout features: bespoke training, fully configured servers for practice, in-house materials, and a dedicated LMS. Plus, get session recordings and 24/7 support. From functional to technical modules, we have got it all. Choose ZaranTech for SAP training and watch your team excel. Learn, upskill, succeed with ZaranTech.
They have a little bit of ABAP knowledge and they want to leverage the new modern technologies, then they can take up this course. What are the training benefits that you get when you're doing the training with ZaranTech? So you would see that you would be getting all the course material, assignments, labs, case studies. Everything will be based out of real-time scenarios. Again, you would have access to the training blogs, recorded videos. Each and every session will be recorded and you will have access to those recording videos. So again, pretty much very well organized training that you will have. And you will have access to a lot of materials. There will be a lot of assignments to check your understanding, how well you're understanding. And again, at various levels, there would be various assessments to test your understanding as well. Okay, so why we are talking about this particular course? What has been the challenge so far? So let us start by talking about the challenges organizations have traditionally faced when developing application in the SAP ecosystem. So it's almost been a decade. I think in 2015 somewhere, SAP launched their SAP S/4HANA product suite. And still many organizations are using SAP ECC. And they are, of course, missing out on many of the innovations, many improvements that are available with the newer or later versions. So if I ask you, what are the top 3 challenges that has prevented these organizations from transitioning into S/4HANA from ECC, or even if they are using SAP S/4HANA, they are still using S/4HANA maybe 2017, version 2017 or 2018. And I think SAP has already launched S/4HANA 2024. So what is the top 3 challenges that has prevented these organizations? Anyone who would like to answer this? And now we are really close to the deadline. SAP has given a deadline of 2027. Beyond that, SAP would stop giving support to SAP ECC. And still many organizations are finding it challenging to transition or to move to SAP S/4HANA. Okay, so you might see even in the slide. So for years, there has been many custom developments that were done directly on the ERP system, either ECC or even in SAP S/4HANA. So even in SAP S/4HANA, people have done the custom development directly on the core. And that also meant modifying the standard SAP code, which often led to many issues, maybe during the upgrade, and even maintaining such solution was very ineffective. It was costly as well. And there was also a heavy reliance on classic ABAP technique. Maybe a classic ABAP technique, you can talk about user exit, customer exit, module pool programming, maybe the DIN-Pro programming. And that followed a very tightly coupled architecture. And because of this tightly coupled architecture, this led to a very poor scalability. It is very difficult to scale those solutions and hard to maintain. So from my perspective, the biggest challenge that I see that organizations are facing and that is preventing them from moving to SAP S/4HANA is their custom code. Of course, cost could be a factor, but probably investing a few $1 million or a few $1,000 for such big organizations, that could not be the bigger challenge. But the bigger challenge is the custom development that they have done for the years. And these applications are not at all cloud ready. They are not at all clean core compliant. And of course, we are talking about an era of digital transformation. So every organization is striving for agility, clean core, and faster adaptation. But with the traditional way, the way we have been building applications or the way we have been developing application using classic ABAP techniques, that has been a major roadblock. Then what is the solution? So this is the problem. Then what is the solution? So the solution, or one of the solution, I would call it, this is not the only solution. So this is where SAP Restful Application Programming Model, or RAP, we know it, comes in handy. It's a cloud-friendly or cloud-compliant development model. It aligns with the clean core principle. It is designed to help developers build enterprise-grade applications that are upgrade safe, that are future-proof, and of course, extensible and scalable as well. So whether you are building side-by-side extension on SAP BTP or embedded application inside your SAP S/4HANA, And when I say SAP S4HANA, I mean by both SAP S4HANA on-premise as well as SAP S4HANA cloud. So RAP gives you all the tools, all the framework, the design paradigm that you can use to create your clean core applications. And again, the architecture that it follows is very loosely coupled, and your business logic is encapsulated in your behavior definition, behavior implementation. UI is very loosely coupled through the Fiori elements that we are going to use. And we are using modern technologies like CDS, OData services, and of course, ABAP Restful Application Programming Model. So these aligns with the modern technologies, clean core. It even accelerates your application development that we will see. So using the framework, a lot of code could be generated. So it very much accelerates your application development. It is very easy to implement from a developer's perspective as well. They find it easy to implement the code using RESTful Application Programming Model. So of course, organizations can now innovate without making too much of changes, without modifying or touching the core, even if they are doing an embedded extension, but it is in a very loosely coupled manner, which reduces the technical debt and it is easy to upgrade, it is future proof, and it reduces your maintenance cost as well. We have already discussed this point. So your business logic is encapsulated, UI is loosely coupled through Fiori elements, and we are using these modern technologies for application development or for extensions. Introduction to SAP BTP. So as part of this course, we are also going to discuss about SAP BTP. It's a technology platform, and how this SAP BTP has provided a unified platform for application development, for integration, for AI and machine learning. It has integrated all these services into one unified platform. So we are going to discuss about SAP BTP overview. And since RESTful Application Programming Model is available on SAP BTP as a service, so we are going to specifically discuss about that particular service. We are not going to discuss in detail about each and every service, but an overview of SAP Business Technology Platform and how using SAP Business Technology Platform you can do side-by-side extension and how you can utilize the SAP BTP ABAP environment service that is available on BTP. That we are going to discuss. So a quick overview of SAP BTP. So SAP BTP is offered in two environments. So new environment where the infrastructure is managed and hosted by SAP in their own SAP data centers, and the Cloud Foundry environment where SAP has partnered with major hyperscalers. So you can name any major hyperscalers, be it AWS, Google Cloud, or Microsoft, any you name. So it has partnered with all those major hyperscalers, and the SAP BTP services are hosted on those hyperscalers. Okay, we have already discussed about this. I don't know how it is. So I mentioned that SAP BTP is a technology platform, which is a unified platform, and it has services for application development, automation, integration, data and analytics, and AI. So you can see how SAP BTP as a technology layer in combination with all the services and many more. Of course, we have not listed down all the services that are available on SAP BTP. It supports the different product suite. It could be SAP Cloud ERP, or it could be your Concur, it could be your Ariba, or it could be your SuccessFactors. So any ERP solution that is being provided by SAP, whether it's a cloud ERP or an on-premise ERP, how that sits on top of the technology layer and how you can maintain and customize according to the individual customer requirements using business technology platform. We are going to understand that from a very high level perspective. And of course, we will see how using the SAP BTP ABAP environment, which is in the application development bucket, how we can create applications on the BTP layer. Then this is a quick introduction about ABAP Restful Application Programming Model. I have already talked about this a little bit in the previous slides. So it is a modern cloud compliant development methodology. Again, an extension of SAP ABAP. So it has two major components. One is the CDS-based data models, and then the OData service. So you are creating an OData service on which is consumed to create a Fiori application, and it can also be consumed in any web application. If you want to develop your front end using PHP, .NET, JavaScript, anything, then even you can expose your OData service, and it can be consumed by those web application or web technologies to create your front end. What function it offers, we have already covered. So it provides it supports clean core extensions. It is cloud ready extensions that you can develop. It allows only whitelisted APIs. So another challenge that has been prevalent in the traditional world, that we did not have any restriction. If I wanted to use a function module which is not released for customers or which is released only for SAP's internal use, and I have used that function module in my customer namespace, and probably during the upgrade or after an upgrade, SAP had done some changes in the importing or exporting parameters, and then the entire application, the entire logic breaks. And if we go to SAP would deny providing any support because that function module was not intended to be used in the customer namespace. So we have seen those kind of challenges in the traditional application development, but in ABAP, a Restful Application Programming Model, only whitelisted APIs are available, so that problem can be catered and that problem has been solved. It again standardizes the development flow because there will be a framework which would generate a lot of dummy codes and you do not need to write each and everything. And we will be talking about the design time and the runtime artifacts. So the sequence of objects needs to be created in a certain order. And again, there are checks that if you are writing some classic ABAP syntax or if you are using API which is not released, it is going to give you a syntax error. I'm not going into the details of it. We have already covered from a high level perspective what are the services, what are the business events. It supports API based development. You can very well consume business events into this. So everything will be the part of the learning that we are going to do. But at the moment, respecting the time that we have, I am not going into the details of the services and the business events that are available in RAP. Okay, so again, how it allows the organizations to adopt innovations. So you can see that even SAP is building its application using Restful Application Programming Model. So if you will see many of the standard Fiori application that SAP has delivered, it is built using Restful Application Programming Model.
What sets ZaranTech apart in SAP corporate training? It's our unique blend of expertise and innovation. We offer customized courses tailored to each client's needs, ensuring relevant, targeted learning. Our vast trainer database brings you wisdom from the best in the field. Need resources? Access our extensive training material repository anytime. We are all about measurable results, providing detailed student metrics to track progress. And we don't just teach, we build community. Join our thriving social media network, connecting learners beyond boundaries. With ZaranTech, you are not just training, you are transforming your SAP expertise.
Restful Application Programming Model ensures clean and lean core. Whatever customizations, whatever extensions that you are doing, it is clean core compliant. It is cloud ready. Even if you want to take that to S4HANA private or public cloud, you can very well transition from an on-premise landscape to a cloud landscape. That is possible. And again, this is the recommended approach from SAP for any kind of a custom development or extensions that you are doing. So this is how the ABAP programming has evolved. So if you will see on the left-hand side, prior to SAP NetWeaver AS 7.4, we were following the classic ABAP programming model. And it was a freestyle ABAP programming model, and that had its own challenges as well. Of course, it had many more benefits, but it has its own challenges as well. And one of the challenges was it was not creating an upgrade safe or an upgrade compliant applications. Then as we evolve, a new programming model slowly came into existence. Again, an extension of ABAP where you had the different ways of creating your OData services, creating the OData service using the Gateway Project Builder. So this is the transaction SEGW. This is the transaction. So using the Gateway Project Builder, we started creating OData services. Then slowly it also transitioned to creating OData service using annotation. So using OData.publish annotation, we were able to create OData service. And then again, we slowly transitioned. And then there was one more way, which is called as saddle approach. So where you can consume those serious views in your OData service. And then the third version that we are going to learn about, that we will be talking about, is ABAP Restful Application Programming Model. So again, a series-based data models, and using Restful Application Programming Model, we are going to create OData service. So this is the modern way of creating an OData service. and a modern way of creating your application or extending your applications. And you can see that in which year, in which decade, or on which specific years these programming models was introduced by SAP. And you can see this is relatively new and being followed by SAP for delivering most of the standard Fiori applications nowadays. And even this is the recommended approach for building your extensions or customizations that you want to do on SAP S4HANA. Benefits, we have already talked about a lot about SAP ABAP RAP model. So I'm going to skip this slide. Again, we have talked about, so these are some of the artifacts as part of the design time artifact. So you will have the data modeling, you will have behavior definition and implementation, service definition and binding and testing and deployment. So these are the 5 stages which we will follow to create your enterprise grade Fiori applications. Again, the modern concepts or the modern technologies that is being used. I'm quickly rushing through the slides because we have very less time now and I need to take up any questions that you have. But again, this document I think would be shared with you or already done. So you can go through this. So this is how your design time architecture will look like. Again, it's a bottom-up approach. So the first layer is data modeling and behavior layer. So this is where you create your serious views or serious view entity. Then in the business service provisioning layer, you do the service definition and service binding. And then finally the service consumption layer where you create your Fiori application, or if you are using any other web technologies, you can provide the metadata or you can provide the APIs, the information, and it can be used to create a web API or to create a front end using different technologies. Features of SAP ABAP RAP, again, we have discussed. So one slide where you can see everything listed down. Cloud ready, scalable, whitelisted APIs, annotation driven development, business object centric development approach, and again a comprehensive tool, a framework which will unify the whole development approach for everyone, whether I am developing or someone else is developing. Since the framework unifies the development approach, everyone is going to follow the same design pattern, same runtime approach will be followed for each and every developer. There are 2 major implementation type available in ABAP RAP. So managed implementation, where the CRUD operations, the create, update, read, and delete is provided by the framework, and unmanaged implementation where the developers manually has to implement the transactional behavior. And we are going to cover both managed as well as unmanaged implementation type as part of this course. So that's the reason you can see there is a dedicated slide, because we are going to cover in detail both the implementation type that are available in RAP. Benefits of RAP implementation, I'm not going into the details of it. All right, so this will be your course curriculum, again, from a very high level perspective. So first, we are going to talk about the introduction of ABAP RAP. Then we are going to, here in the introduction, we are going to discuss about the architecture, the design time and the runtime architecture. Then module 2 will of course be the data modeling layer, where we will deep dive into serious views, how different types of serious views can be created, how that can be utilized, how to add annotations, what are the different types of annotations, how that can be the data modeling layer. And on top of that, we are going to discuss about the RAP business objects, the different characteristics, the different behavior of business objects. We have already mentioned about the managed and unmanaged implementation type. So you can see the managed transactional app. Of course, we are going to see the unmanaged implementation type as well. And these are some of the characteristics or attributes of your business object, like the draft enabled application, the composite business object, unmanaged transactional app, and of course, some advanced topic, how to deploy that on the Cloud Foundry or on your Fiori Launchpad. So we are going to discuss about those topics as well.